Good evening, fellow Plexers. Tonight's video is going out to Robert, who I will call Bob if he doesn't mind. So his issue, as posted in Plexaholics on Facebook, is that he's got 4 movies stuck in his recently added, and any new movie gets put in afterwards. So these are stuck. And I've seen that happen a few times, and normally I think it's due to a naming issue. With Plex not scanning the media incorrectly, and that may or may not be his case. That's what we're going to explore, because I don't really like how he's named the movie. His folder is fine, but I want to start off with the movie over here at TMDB, that the first one that's stuck. And let me find this. Let me make this larger. And let me find the right section. The Your Media section. So with a movie library, it's these first 3 articles that we all have to know almost by heart. So this basically tells us how to just set up the folder and the file name in a simple way. Plex grabs information for a movie from either IMDb or TMDB, and this section talks about how to properly use the source ID from either. You can literally just copy the title from either database, and that becomes the movie folder name and the file name. An IMDb number is a can't miss, so Bob, if you want to try that, you can add that to the folder name, but your movie's already matched correctly, and I don't know if you use fixed match. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but really it doesn't matter. If it matches perfectly fine on the first scan, or you use fixed match, it should pull the right metadata. So then, with your file name specifically, and let's bring in my example of that. So I like your folder, nice and simple, nothing wrong with it. The file name I don't like because there's no space dash space between the year and this extra information. And that's what I wanted to get to next. That would be the multi-version movie support document. And Plex basically shows how to scan multiple versions of the movie in, and that these will scan under one poster. Well, even if you just have one poster, this versioning lets you safely use extra media characteristics after that space dash space. That's what I did for the longest time. Now my extra media characteristics still go after the space dash space, but they go into brackets. The TV show naming library tells us that that scanner and agent ignore anything in brackets. So the space dash space isn't really needed. But I kind of just use the brackets in a movie library because I think it looks better. The space dash space is the real separator based on this versioning article. Now, while we're here, multiple editions is a nice feature. That's a Plex Pass feature, and it shows you how to add an edition tag to the file name to then have it automatically scan in with the edition tag underneath the poster. So if you have multiple versions of a movie like this, even if this one didn't have a different edition tag, they would both scan in as separate posters instead of versioning where they all scan in under one poster, if that all makes sense. So I always like to mention proper naming. Again, I don't care for this, but I'm not sure if it's responsible for the problem. We're going to find out. And how we're going to find out, let me lose this, is this is on my older Synology NAS that serves as a backup to my Plex media on my newer NAS. And I have both a Docker container and a packaged version of Plex that I can spin up on this older NAS. And right now the Docker container test server is running. So I use, let's see, these are the shared media folders on this older NAS. My newer NAS backs up all its Plex media to this folder with hyper backup. Some computer files are here. I've got a couple Docker containers running. That's in this shared media folder. This is the package install application files of Plex server, and my Docker container install is inside this folder. And this is the media I've set up. It's all an example. It's all public domain, real movies or dummy movies that are only 5 seconds long. And I just can't help but talk about this. I like a nested folder structure. One shared media folder, and then a sort library for each type of Plex library. You don't really need a sort folder for your music library, because I can't come up with many reasons why any of us would have multiple music libraries. So this could just be your music library, maybe just name music. If you do have multiple music libraries, have a sort folder for that too. And if you're using the Star apps or a trash guide setup, and you happen to be using something like Saab NZBD, that landing zone folder and its subfolders should be in the same shared media folder, because that enables atomic moves when the landing zone files get renamed and moved to the proper library folders. One of the best things you can do for one of those setups, and it makes it fast, even on a rusty array like I have. So that's the setup there. Let's go into the movie library sort folder, and let's create a new test movie library called Movie Bob. Now, because it's all Linux, I don't use any uppercase letters or spaces until I get to the movie level. So I've got Bob's example here. Let's pull some of these out. These are just dummy files. Let me pull 2 movies out to create the initial library. And we'll drop them in this new library structure. So now I need my Plex server, or the web app to the test Plex server. Let's see, I'm in the test Plex server, and this is how multiple libraries show up. If I wanted to do maintenance to the test server on the newer NAS, I go there, and whatever I'm into, it just switches to the new server. So this is the one we want. I want the library tab, and I'll add that new test library. We'll call it Movie Bob, if I can spell Bob right. We'll look for this folder. So it's a Docker container. This is my alias to the shared media folder called Media. Now I can choose my movie library sort folder, and I can find the new folder structure I've just created with these 2 movies. And I can't help myself but show this advanced setting that I think everyone should choose with a new library. Decide if you want to pull the automatic collections that are listed at TMDB, and whether you want it to be created after 1 movie is added, 2, 3, or 4. I choose 2 because I do not like single movie collections. Okay, so it's starting up. This library is set, or all these libraries on this test server are set to scan automatically when Plex detects changes to the file system. And as you can see, these dummy files that are named simply are scanning incorrectly. And let me show you the structure, very simply named. So let's bring this in, just exactly as Bob has named his media. And bring the server back up, it'll scan automatically. Okay, and here we have it. It added, but let's see if it gets stuck there with Bob's naming. So let me go in here and select 2 more movies to add to this library. I think I have to hit the cough button, excuse me. Well, hold on. I'll stifle it until these movies get added. All right, so they're pushing the problem movie over. Hold on a second. All right, I don't really have to do any more testing. Now it's troubleshooting and then to offer a manual fix. So, I don't know what's really going on, but let's talk about some troubleshooting steps that might fix it. Have you ever seen the troubleshooting section, Bob? I'm going to the settings and I'm going to troubleshooting. Have you ever run clean bundles or optimized database? Now, I do them as a scheduled task. I do a lot of this stuff behind the scenes. If you don't have any of this running behind the scenes and you've never manually done this, maybe pop in, clean your bundles, go make a cup of coffee, because if you have a fairly decent sized server and you've never done it, it'll take a while. The same with optimized database. This is a tiny test server, so it all happens pretty fast. Another thing you can try, though I don't think that's the solution, is to do the Plex dance, which would be this. I'm going to take your movie, the whole folder, move it out of Plex, or let's say move it out of the library structure like that. My automatic scanning will happen and the movie will remove itself. Once it's gone, manually scan the library again. I don't really have to do this because my library scans automatically, but then empty the trash. And then go to the settings, troubleshooting again, clean the bundles, go back to your library and then find the media and adjust the file name if needed. So I'm going to add just the typical versioning information to it, which did not prevent this from advancing the way you had it named. So I have less of a problem with your naming, but I just want to show you the Plex dance. So now you move the media back into the folder. So for the hell of it, you can try the Plex dance. So this is going to automatically scan. But then you would have to add another movie to see if things advance. Let's add another Capra movie. And it will advance, I already know that. Okay, so those are the troubleshooting steps you can try, and here's the manual fix. You find the movie at TMDB. And we see the date, February 18th, 1997. And if you've only got 4 movies stuck there, edit the movie, general, slide down. Oh, hold on. Let me pause this. I think I asked for the date and I don't remember what your date was. Let me pause the video and check Facebook out and I'll be right back. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now I'm really stuck because Bob has the correct date listed for this movie. So, my manual fix is not going to be helpful, and I don't have a good explanation as to why his 4 movies are not advancing if they all have the correct date from TMDB or IMDb. So let's double check something else. So this is not going to be a successful video, but it's going to be a fishing expedition to see if anything on Bob's server doesn't match mine. So let's go to the 3 dots, Manage Library, and Edit. And let's make sure under the Advanced section that you're using the latest Plex movie, scanner, and agent. And if you're not, tell me why and why you might be hesitant to change to those. Now, in times past, as if I've been using Plex server before, when did I start using it? 2019? Before the latest scanner and agent came out, I would have somebody see if their agent settings matched mine. but it's now labeled legacy, so it really doesn't matter if you're using the latest Plex scanner and agent. But just for the heck of it, I'll roll through all this. So movies, personal media, Plex movie, legacy, Plex, or the movie database, Plex personal media. Just to see if anything on your settings is different from mine. Shows, personal media, the TVDB, the movie database, Plex personal media. Artist, personal media, Last.fm, Plex personal media. Albums, first, second, third. Photos, first and second. So pause the video, slow it down, do whatever you want to check that. That's another long shot answer. But if you're not using the latest scanner and agent, please tell me why you don't want to use it. Because this latest iteration of it, which I think these first came out a couple of years ago, and they continually have been improved. And the latest iteration of it is pretty good with sloppy file naming, to be honest with you. Things that you had to fix match in the past now scan right in, and it makes folder and file naming almost idiot proof. Not that you're an idiot, not that anybody watching this is an idiot, but I'm here to tell you, when I started Plex in 2019, I didn't know a support article for my elbow, and I was a Plex idiot. I acquired media and threw away the subtitles. What do I want them for? To only discover forced subtitles down the road. And now I'm a subtitle nut. I had movies named with a movie name and a space and the year. That's how bad I was. And I put my movies in stupid sort folders. I was the worst iteration of a new Plex server owner. So I'll call myself that old Plex idiot. Now I like to have things by the book. And Bob, I wish I could be more helpful. So this is really, like I said, a fishing expedition to explore some things. It should be moving. And normally when they're stuck, they've been assigned a bad date. And your date looks good. Everything looks good from the metadata pages. I don't know why things are stuck. So the troubleshooting steps: clean bundles, optimize database, make sure you're using the latest scanner and agent, and let me know if any of my information is helpful. No Plex discussion is bad. This video may help somebody else, but I'm disappointed I wasn't able to help you directly. My apologies. If I think of something, I'll leave these test files here to run another test if I can think of something else. Until then, happy Plexing.